Hi, I'm M. Jason Graham, and this is the Bidness Spotlight. Today's topic, intellectual property. Now, I've talked about this before, and I will continue to talk about it because it's important to your freedom. It's paramount to your independence as an entrepreneur. It is paramount to your independence as a human being and being able to choose how you want your life to be. First, let's start with the definition. So, intellectual property, a work or invention that is the result of creativity, such as a magazine or a design, to which one has rights and for which one may apply for a patent, copyright, trademark, etc. So, okay, there's a lot that's going on in there, so let's unpack it a bit. So, the first part of that, which is a work or invention that is the result of creativity. So, most people, when they think of intellectual property, they think of drawing or a book, a manuscript, or a design. So, something of that nature, where there was something in your head and it came out from you into existence from you putting it together, whether it's on a piece of paper or if it's a model made of wood, or if it's gears that you constructed. That is intellectual property. But while that idea remains in your head, in whatever form it is in, if you speak that idea to someone and you're not giving a description, for instance, if you say, well, somebody should do a movie about Harriet Tubman, and then somebody comes out with a script that's about Harriet Tubman, you're saying that there should be a movie about Harriet Tubman is not intellectual property. The intellectual property is the actual physical manifestation of whatever that idea was. So copyrights, patents, and trademarks are not based on ideals. Because I said during in my process, you could give 10 different people the same theme, same expectation and purpose, and you will get 10 different stories. Those stories, that's the intellectual property. The thing that people don't understand about copyrights is that as soon as you express something, as soon as you write a story, as soon as you write a process, we'll talk about processes too, but as soon as you express something on in whatever format it's expressed, it's copywritten. Now, what you do is that you go to the US Copyright Office in order to get them to recognize that that is your material. That's what you're doing. So you getting the high sign from the US government stating that yes, this person is registered and this material looks like X. But the copyright exists the moment that the material comes into existence. Now, what can you prove in a court of law? That's the other thing. And it's the reason why we have patents and copyrights and trademark offices. It's because the things that people come up are so similar sometimes that it's hard to tell who had what first. And you can look at various examples throughout history. Thomas Edison and Tesla, for instance, Nicholas Tesla, and see that the first idea to market isn't always the winner. The first person to come up with an idea is not always the person who gets the copyright or the patent or the trademark for it. It's the first person who can run to the government and say, hey, I've got this. So none of that should prevent you from sharing your ideas. And this is the other thing. So you share your ideas, you don't share necessarily your material, what is copy, your manuscript, your design. That's what we have NDAs for. And again, none of this legal stuff prevents people from trying to steal your material or stealing your material. It's a deterrent because a lot of major companies, they have something called an errors and omissions log or a clause in their contracts. And so they make very sure that only you are liable if you steal somebody else's material. And if you don't have these proper business procedures, which is to say a patent, a copyright, and a trademark in place, they're not going to do business with you because there are too many things that can go wrong. And there's too much money that gets wrapped up in it. And they want to make sure that you own all the rights so that they can purchase those rights from you. And this comes to the next part. We talked about processes and procedures. So you work for a company, and customer service is a fantastic example of this. Companies give you the tools. They give you the computer, they give you the phone, they give you the idea of this is how you interact with the customer. These are the things that you have to say. This is a way that you can kind of pull out what the customer wants, but they don't tell you specifically step by step how you deal with every single customer. In fact, they give you carte blanche to do what you need to in order to take care of that customer. So essentially, they give you a list of duties, and then it is up to you on how you prioritize those duties. The list of duties that they give you is not a copyright. It's not intellectual property. How you do those things that you do in the order that you do them based upon the philosophy that you use, the methodology, if you will, that is a copyright. The process is what you can copyright because it's a work, it's an invention. You're inventing a process by which to do the work. It's the same thing that you would if you were putting together an engine. It's a business process. And a lot of major businesses will purchase, a lot of large businesses will purchase smaller businesses because they see what that smaller business's process is, and they want to be able to use that process. But as we said, processes are trademarked and copywritten and patented. So they need to be able to purchase that business in order to use that process. Which is why whenever you work for a company now, you'll notice in your employment contract, it says that anything that you come up with, anything that you invent, or any new processes that you come up with belong to the company. So, what does that mean for you exactly? It means that if you have the ability to manage and create a process for how you do your work, how you manage your desk at work, then you have the ability to create the life that you want to have for yourself and your own business. It means that you're capable. This is the thing that I want to bring across to everybody. Because I worked a corporate job as well. And it's not the thing that um, I'm not bitter anymore. I used to be really bitter. I'm not really bitter anymore because there is a lot that you can learn by working in the corporate sector. The thing is that there's no longevity in the corporate sector. You constantly have to move from job to job if you want to get uh, better pay, better benefits. And I was even reading a article the other day that said that you have a lot of millennials that are ghosting corporate jobs because honestly, corporate jobs aren't looking to provide a life for you. Like, they're not looking for an honest trade anymore. They feel like that there are enough workers out there that they can simply hire someone new. Why should they pay you enough and continue to pay enough to you in order to grow your life, in order to have a family, in order to have children? They don't feel like they should do that. So there's a lot of millennials and post-millennials that are coming up that are saying, why should I work this job? Why should I come here? Why should it be dependent upon you to decide what my value is? And so they leave. And of course, that puts companies in a bind because they don't have enough gears to put in the machine to keep it going. So that's why I got out and do my best to stay out, is because when somebody leaves, that means more work is put on you. And they're already not going to give you any more money for what you're doing. So why continue to put yourself through that? I want everybody to be encouraged to do the thing in their life that they want to do. And intellectual property is a keystone, a cornerstone of being able to do that. The simple recognition that your brain contributes to the world around you and helping things run is so important from that standpoint, regardless of what anybody says to you about you're not being smart enough, or you're not being fast enough, or you're not being efficient enough. Maybe you're not meant to do that thing that they have you doing. Maybe you're meant to do something else, and we need to put time and effort into doing that so that we can live the lives that we want to live and be fulfilled and decide success for ourselves, instead of looking to other people to decide success for us so that we chase the cheese. There's a book that I read when I first lost my job, when I got here to Georgia in 2013, and it was called Follow the Cheese. I think it was called Follow the Cheese. But basically, it was this idea, somebody was trying to sell the idea that instead of complaining that the businesses won't give you what you want, you need to just go chase the businesses that will. And the only thing about that is that, yeah, you have to survive, but life is more than about survival. And so what that turns into is you constantly picking up and moving different places in order to find the best job. But you constantly have to do that. That stuff is cool when you're in your 20s and your 30s, but in your 30s, you want to start to have a family, settle down. And you can't do that on a corporate job. You cannot. Even if you're in upper management. Because there isn't that much stability in these corporations anymore. They've gotten too big. So, intellectual property is the first step. Recognizing intellectual property is the very first step to living the life that you want to live and that you deserve to live. I'm M. Jason Graham. This has been the Bidness Spotlight on intellectual property. The Business Spotlight is brought to you by mjgstorycreation.com. Go to mjgstorycreation.com for free downloads and a free story audit. Get started on your epic story today. I'll see you next time.